Hello and welcome to ReelTok episode 48. I'm here with two of my lovely co-hosts as always, Tyler and George. Cam is unable to join us today. He is still away at the minute. Where did you say it was? Michigan?
Michigan.
Yeah,
Right,
I bet
cool.
that just sounds like some foreign random place to you, right? Like, I
No,
doubt you hear
I
much
can-
about Michigan.
Yeah, it's like it reminds. I feel like it's like a Montana or some shit where like not much is going on there. I'm assuming anyway.
Basically.
Shout out to our listeners from Michigan because there will be. Some.
Good save. Good save.
Yeah, we've got a few things to talk about today, as usual. Before we get into everything, we massively appreciate all the support we've had recently. We finally broke that threshold of the 1.2K ratings on Spotify, and also more importantly, we finally hit 4K subscribers on YouTube as well. So one more thousand, and we can release merch. So be excited for that. So very much thank you for that, and of course, just follow us on all socials, help us out. It really, really helps us out. The shares, the likes, we really appreciate it as always. Before we get into everything, we have got a few reviews today, and then we're going to be doing a Pixar top 10 and bottom 5. So it should get a bit controversial. I'm sure many people will be annoyed, and that's perfectly okay. Before we get into everything, I want to see how both of you gentlemen are today. Tyler, I'll start with you. Obviously, you've had quite a eventful week, I guess.
Yeah, I had a hell week basically. So for my work, I had like a leadership. So I'm part of like a leadership development program. If you guys are young in your careers listening to this, I'm sure a lot of companies have something similar. It's like a 3-year rotate around the company, experience different positions, experience different locations. But we have a yearly leadership development conference we have to go to, and that's where I was this week. Since flew there on Saturday, and today we're filming this on Friday. And I just got back this morning, so basically the entire week. I didn't want to say before I went there because I didn't want to dox myself, but we were at the University of New Hampshire, and we all stayed in the dorms. It's like 300 people in our company, ages like 22 to 25. So just basically a bunch of like fresh college graduates back in the dorms once again. No air conditioning. It was bloody awful. It was humid as hell in New Hampshire. I'm not used to that being in Phoenix now. But yeah, basically every single day, like I just finished my time card for the week, 86.3 hours for this work week alone. So more than double the average I would do for my career. So every day it was like 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. nonstop. It was like, I swear they like made the week to design to be like psychological torture, like literally, because so like Wednesday alone, the morning we had to go do a high ropes course, which basically we did stuff like with a harness in 20 feet above the ground, doing kind of like risky high ropes type stuff. So like gets your adrenaline pumping, gets the fear of heights. And right after that, we had to give like a 10-minute presentation that was like personal about our life to a room of like 50 people.
Oh, man.
So you go from like the heights and scared of like adrenaline junkie type stuff to immediately giving like a public presentation about something personal. And then right after that, we immediately had to go into like doing this like 6-hour long task. So I swear they were just trying to break us all week. But yeah, it was a long week. Obviously, like people know, like I was pretty much non-existent on like Twitter and stuff. I did film. The day before I went, I filmed like 22 TikToks. Like I stayed up all night. I slept for 30 minutes before I got on my flight. So I have been posting TikToks, but I've been so disconnected this week. I've literally just opened up TikTok, like pressed post, and then like kind of logged off. So now I'm home for like less than a day because we're filming this. I'm going to edit this, and then Riley and I are going right on vacation to northern Arizona to unplug for the week, which I much need. So going to also, once again, be pretty much non-existent on socials. Going to try to have my phone out like basically zero for the next like 4 or 5 days. I will still be posting TikToks, ReelTok, and all that will be posted as normal. But I'm going to try and unplug as much as I can to try and get a break after this last week, which was a hell week, which definitely drained the mental health. But I'm home now. I'm back in Phoenix, University of New Hampshire. If any of you went there, it was a fun campus. It was fine, whatever, cool. But I'm really happy to be out of there. But yeah, I'm happy to be talking to you two. It's been 2 weeks since we've talked, so that's me.
I know, it feels like a long time, doesn't it?
Yeah.
A very long time. I don't like
It does
it.
feel like a while. Honestly, last weekend I was like, damn, we're not.
It felt weird.
Yeah, it did. It felt
really
weird not
weird.
waking up on a Saturday or a Sunday, like getting my podcast stuff ready, logging on and shit.
Really bizarre. But yeah, you'll definitely need a vacation. Obviously, like you sent us videos of where you were staying and stuff like that. I mean, it's rather unusual setting for a man in his mid-20s.
Right.
Like, when do you leave? When do you leave college? Actually, like
22-ish is probably the average.
Okay, yeah. So man in the mid-20s. We'll go with that. George, how have you been this week, my friend?
I've been good, man. was telling Tyler before we hopped on, I've been playing a crazy amount of tennis this week. I was out in the 85-degree weather on last Saturday for like 3 hours, Sunday for another 2 hours, Tuesday, and then yesterday I played for 2 hours. So I'm just like physically beat right now. I trekked out to Long Island yesterday for a match, and after the match, like going from the Long Island Railroad to the subway and then walking like 3 avenues and a couple blocks to the apartment, I thought my legs were just gonna give out. So I'm physically exhausted. I'm gonna go to the gym right after this and like end my week with more physical torture and then just absolutely relax this weekend. I'm happy we're recording this on Friday evening because I'm not setting one alarm this weekend. I'm sleeping however long my body wants me to sleep. But other than that, pretty standard week. A little bit busy with work, but nothing out of the ordinary. So just a physically taxing week, a mentally draining week with work, and now I'm excited to sleep as much as possible this week and hopefully check off some movies off my watch list.
Yeah, you've been doing a lot of rewatches at the moment, George. That
happens all the time. Like if like these weeks where like I'm just mentally drained, physically drained, I have no desire to like pay attention to a movie.
Yeah, I get it.
So I just toss on rewatches. At least this week with the rewatches, it wasn't like The Batman or La La Land. I rewatched films I haven't rewatched in a very long time, which we'll go over when we talk about what we've been watching lately. But yeah, it was a lot of rewatches lately. So hopefully this weekend, maybe I'll check a couple off my watch list.
I will say you talked about like the 85 degrees, and like after this weekend, I'm just gonna shut up about like Phoenix heat because obviously on a college campus we walk like I was going to so many buildings like every day, like just like when you're in college, you walk miles a day, you get like 15,000 steps just walking all the way from building to building and just like going everywhere by foot. It was like 77, like tops. Like it wasn't even hot at all. It was like 77 to 80, but it's like, I don't know. It's similar like ish to New York, maybe like just that New England atmosphere is like 80% ish humidity every day. Yeah. And I was just like sweating through my shirt every day. And it was like 75 to 80. And I was just drenched in sweat every day. Disgusting. And like there's no AC in the dorm. So I was just like sweating the whole week. Whereas here in Arizona, it's like 120, but there's no humidity. So I don't really sweat because like there's no moisture in the air. So like when you're outside, the sweat just evaporates immediately off your skin. I would much prefer to be like hot as shit and just not sweat rather than like it being like literally a nice day out, but I walk outside for 20 minutes and I'm like sweating. I'm like, what the hell, man? This is disgusting. So I will shut up about Arizona's temperature.
I texted you right after I played tennis on Saturday. I was like, I don't know how you do Arizona because I just played tennis. It was like 80 degrees. I can't even imagine playing tennis in like 100+ degree weather.
What's 80 degrees in Celsius?
Oh God,
30.
Don't make me do math.
I feel like New York weather might be similar to here then, because 30 here is hot.
New York is just stupid humid. Like I can't even walk a block to my cleaners without sweating right now. Like it's so goddamn humid. And then like I think I told you guys this on another podcast episode. Coming home from work, like wearing a button down and like dress pants in the subway station, which is whatever the temperature is outside, add 20 degrees to that, and that's the subway. It is the most miserable thing in the world. And if you get a subway that doesn't have AC, I actually feel like I'm gonna die on those subways.
That's what they're like in London. Some of those don't have ACs.
Man,
no, I'm talking, bro. Like when I went to Comic-Con, then it was like it got up to like 30, 35, so like around 90 Fahrenheit. And you got on it in the middle of the day, and it was packed, and you can't move. And you go on I'm talking the old tube stations, George, the ones with no AC or nothing. The horrible.
I was gonna say you keep ragging on the tubes, but like I had a great experience with them.
I feel like how busy were they when you went on?
Not busy, because so we were tubing like during the work day, so like no one was out. We were like tourists while everyone was at work, so like it was never really busy.
Yeah, you should try on a weekend. Like it's crazy, it's horrible. I genuinely feel like you're gonna die. It's ridiculous.
No wonder Joaquin Phoenix's Joker did what he did. It's all starting to make sense. Those subways in the heat. Can make any man go crazy.
And that wasn't even a busy one either, was it?
No, that was straight
No, it was
empty.
empty. It's crazy.
Imagine Arthur Fleck on a New York City subway at rush hour. Bro would clip out 20 people at once.
As far as my week, pretty standard, to be fair. Nothing much to talk about. Have I told you guys anything this week?
Anything like big?
Yeah, I don't know, man. I'm losing track of time. I feel really ill at the minute. I got ill like 3 days ago. Now I feel ill again. It's really weird. I don't know if you've ever had it where you've given someone an illness and then you've caught that illness back. I think that's happening to me right now. As a rare occasion. As a very rare occasion. It's horrible. But I've watched a few films and stuff, tipped up a few things this week. Got a pretty busy week next week in terms of work and stuff like that. But without further ado, I think we'll go on to our first review. Obviously, Talk to Me, the new A24 horror that got the Australian A24 horror that was released by the two YouTubers, and that fact has now become redundant. I know it's been released by YouTubers. Like, we don't need to. It's become the Interstellar fact.
It's
really
the new, beat to shit below 6 feet below ground fact of a movie that we
all
need.
of them.
Did you guys know Michael B. Jordan used a lot of anime influence in Creed 3?
It's the same shit. It's the
same
same shit.
It's one of those.
Me and George watched it. Obviously, when did you watch it, George? I think it came out the week before last. I watched it on the 28th.
Yeah, I watched it last week. I don't remember when. Maybe Thursday. I think Thursday.
I watched it Friday.
Yeah, it's like a week ago.
Yeah. Obviously, to give you a brief synopsis before we talk on, rough things. We always take too much of your time on this. I think, because if you want to go into spoilers, George, we can.
There's not much to spoil, I feel. I mean, not really. It's an A24 horror film. You kind of know what you're getting yourself into.
Although, do you? Because I would argue it's better. Well, than some anyway.
Rather.
But when a group of friends discover how to conjure spirits using an embalmed hand, they become hooked on the new thrill until one of them goes too far and unleashes terrifying supernatural forces. Me and George, obviously, big horror guys in general. I know George liked it. If you want to give your brief thoughts, and then we'll go from there.
Yeah, I really liked it. I know not an original thought, but I do think this is the best horror movie of the year. Not that I think it's been a particularly strong year for horror, but even outside horror, I think this is sitting at my 7th place ranking of the year, or maybe 7th place ranking of the year right now. And we recorded the episode with the Raiders boys like a few days earlier, and I wish we did it after because I would have loved to have this in my top 10 for that episode. But no, the one thing I loved about this movie was just how unique and how refreshing it felt, which really just kept it unpredictable. Like, I never knew which way the story was going to go, which I absolutely love. A lot of times, especially with these Insidious type movies, these jump scare horror movies, you kind of you know when the scares are coming, you know exactly what to expect. But Talk to Me really kept me on my toes, both from the perspective of not knowing when the next scare is going to come, and then just story wise, I really could not predict where this story was going to go. And that's one thing I really loved about this movie. It just felt so unique and so refreshing. And then the horror was just, again, and we were talking about this, the two of us the other week. It really is not as scary as I think a lot of people are making it out to be. Like, I truly, I'm not even just saying this because I want Tyler and Cam to watch a horror movie. I really don't think you guys would have a problem with this at all. There were disturbing scenes here and there, but those disturbing scenes weren't frightening. They were more so just that's disgusting. And that's another part of the movie that I absolutely loved. We'll get, we'll whenever we put our spoiler flag up, that's when we'll talk about the scene specifically. But yeah, there were scenes here and there that just had my jaw on the floor. This was also such a fun theater experience. My theater was into it. They were very audible, which I know, Seth, you don't love, but
I like when it's a film that allows it to be like a Barbarian.
Exactly. It was just a lot of a lot of reactionary audibles, which I really enjoyed. But yeah, I thought I went with a 4 out of 5, and I know we saw this on Letterboxd. A lot of our mutuals are right there at a 4 out of 5, like a lot of them. And yeah, it's like across the board, it's just the most consistently above average horror film I've watched. Like it never like exceeds to like the point of like being truly great, but it never dips down to a point where I'm like, okay, that was lackluster. Like everything across the board was just consistently good, which I really enjoyed. So yeah, overall, I went with a 4 out of 5. I really liked it. It was unpredictable. It was frightening. It was disgusting to look at times. The story kept me on my toes. The acting performances hit. The comedy, I swear, the first half hour of this movie was a horror comedy, and it worked like crazy. I was loving it. So yeah, 4 out of 5 for me. It's in my top 10 of the year right now. I don't know, outside of like Maxine, I really don't know the lineup of horror movies we're getting for the rest of the year. But
not this year. Well, not for us anyway, but
yeah, I mean, for you maybe not, but for us, I think Maxine is definitely this year. But either way, I'll be hard pressed if I find a horror film this year that I like better than Talk to Me.
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat. I actually looked at my things before this. I think this is my highest rated horror of not only this year, but last year also.
Ooh, that's
I think
I want to check that actually.
I'm pretty sure it is. I've waited to the 2020s. It's very much at the higher end of horror, unless you count like Bones and All, which I kind of don't, to be honest.
Yeah, I don't count that as a horror.
Bit of a weird one. But yeah, I really, really liked it. I think, like you said, it was refreshing. It was original. It was silly, which I liked, especially in the first half. And it had these like absurd moments. And like you said, I didn't find it particularly scary. And I think that Tyler and Cam would be fine with it. And most people out there who aren't well versed in horror and kind of want to ease their way into it, I think this is the perfect point to do so. It's more on like capturing the feeling of loneliness, obviously from the loss of a loved one, which isn't really a spoiler. You can see that in some of the synopsis and stuff like that. And it's just it's kind of confrontational, creepy. There are some really disturbing and weird sequences. I don't even know if it's disturbing, kind of just weird. You'll know which scenes I'm on about, and just there are some scenes which kind of are so self-aware with how silly it's being. George, I'll put one over to you in a second, but I'll just say the feet scene, for example.
Yeah, that was so funny. I'm surprised that's the one you went with.
Well, there's a few, to be fair, but that's just
there's one with a dog that really stands out.
Yeah, of course, yeah, that one as well. But it was just impressive because it's even more impressive because it was a full-length directorial debut, especially horrors, man. Like some of them are so bad. You watch 5 horrors, 4 of them are going to be bad nowadays. Modern horrors going in a trend that personally I've not enjoyed as much. But I think this really captured some originality. It took a supernatural spin in a new direction that I haven't seen much of before. It wasn't anything revolutionary, like you mentioned. Like I wouldn't. It's not something I think is incredible, but I think it's very, very good and a really solid debut. I also think that it's just unquestionably impactful. I don't think the commentary offered, with like the loneliness and stuff like that, it's nothing you've seen it before. But it did it in a way where it was just effective. And I also thought that the main girl, Sophie Wilde,
she was great.
Really, really good.
Yeah, she was really great.
And I did actually have a look into her kind of filmography, I guess. And she's only actually been in previously one film. And then she's got 2 films coming out this year, which I don't really know what they are, but she's only ever acted in one film prior to this, I believe, what it says in Letterboxd anyway. And that makes it even more impressive. And I actually think a lot of the actors were pretty, like most of them, I haven't got much credits or anything like that. They were almost amateurs.
Which makes it like even more impressive that like there really wasn't like a false note in the acting. Like everyone across the board. Oh, who?
I nearly screamed when I saw Eowyn on my screen.
Who?
Eowyn from Lord of the Rings. Eowyn.
Which one was she?
She was the mom.
Bro, that's where I knew her from.
Yeah. When I saw her on the
I
screen,
swear to God, during the movie, she popped up on the screen, and I looked at Sophie, and I was like, "Who the fuck is that?" I was like, "I know that face somewhere."
Because that was like the one, I guess, high-end,
funny, though.
reputable actor. You know what I mean? Like,
she was funny. She had the
She
one
was good.
line where she was talking to her son and her son's friend, and she was like, "If I catch you with alcohol, I'm gonna punch you in the face."
yeah, she was funny. I really liked her. We can touch on some like spoilers, I guess. There's not really too much to spoil. You kind of know
I'm looking right
what
now.
happens.
Sorry to interrupt. I'm looking right now. I think from this decade, I think I would have this as my 5th ranked horror film. Because
Really?
I would have Nope and Malignant at 1 and 2, in my humble opinion. And then I think the only other ones I would take above it are Watcher and Mad God.
Oh shit, yeah, Mad God. I always forget that's like
Yeah.
horror. Yeah, I'd
Like
probably have
my other 4 out of 5 is The Menu. I think I'd still take Talk to Me.
I
X
wouldn't even
and
say
Pearl.
that's a horror.
Yeah, I
isn't
wouldn't
it?
consider The Menu a horror. X and Pearl, I would still take Talk to Me. Last Night in Soho, The Black Phone, Scream 5 and 6. Yeah, I think I would take Talk to Me above all of those. Maybe it's a little bit of recency bias. I'd be curious to see how this holds up on rewatch, but right now I'd
Yeah.
have it as my 5th ranked horror movie of the decade.
I'd have it 4th. I'm just looking now. I'd have Titan first, then I'd have
I still haven't watched Titan.
it's fucking great. Then I'd have Bones and All second, The Night House first.
Never watched
third.
that.
Very good. I think it's on Hulu for you guys. You'd really like
Okay.
it. And then yeah, I'd have it 4th. So that's a huge compliment, really. A huge compliment. Is there any specific scenes you wanted to touch on? I assume that there will be.
I mean, yeah. Let's
Yes.
all right, let's put our spoiler warning out now. So obviously you've seen the movie. Spoiler alert. The first scene that like genuinely like put my jaw on the ground was when the little brother was possessed, obviously, and out of nowhere, this dude starts beating the fuck out of his face on anything within reach.
Crazy. Yeah.
It was, and the thing that, and it's gonna sound fucked up that I'm saying the thing I loved, but the thing I loved about that scene is that like the camera doesn't move. Like you watch this kid just beat the shit out of himself. Like the camera, there's no like techniques to like make it look real when it's not. It's you're looking at it and it's gross.
Yeah.
And then the end of that scene when like the sister tries to put her hand there, that like I felt that in my hand. Like I felt that pain.
when he headbutts straight on the hand.
Yeah. Like I felt that pain. And then same thing the next time he wakes up from the coma that he's in and he tries to fuck up the back of his head on that fucking steel wall or whatever it is in the hospital. Yeah. Disgusting. But that's also what I'm saying about this movie. Like, yeah, there are moments that are frightening. Like there are moments where I was like, damn, what the fuck is about to happen? But this movie is just more so like disturbing and like unpleasant to watch than it is like frightening in the way like an Insidious or a Conjuring is.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's like so obviously the we're in spoilers now, so I can say this. Obviously the main character basically lost her mom, and it's a whole thing about she when she first uses the summoning hands, she basically speaks to someone in the room who's been the mom is in someone in the room and she speaks to her mom, whatever. And then her friend's brother, who she's like really close to, use it, as George mentioned, doesn't go particularly well for him.
He goes
he basically
berserk, bro.
Possessed, and it's a whole thing about he's basically in hospital now, and every time he wakes up, he's trying to kill himself, and it really relies on this like visceral, brutal imagery, and I do like how they put that in there, because I think a lot of horrors nowadays will shy away from it. You don't see much in terms of gore.
It's because I feel like a lot of horrors want to lean towards that PG-13 rating just to pull in larger audience members,
like Megan did.
Exactly, literally exactly like Megan did.
And I think that they kind of, like I said before, you know, the issues of the whole thing about it is the medical mental consequences of losing a loved one, and kind of the isolation you feel and sadness, especially when the main character isn't really close to her dad. And the idea of that is something we've seen before, but it was executed well. But what I would say is the most impressive thing about this film to me is you wouldn't know this was a debut. It was technically really impressive.
Yeah, it was a very like competent film. Like there was no instances where I was like, that's very like amateur-esque. Like it really felt like either one, I knew it was a debut and it felt like they had just spent years perfecting this movie, or two, this wasn't a debut at all. This was two very experienced filmmakers. It had that sort of like feel to it, which I loved.
Yeah, I'm definitely excited to see what they're going to do more because they managed to combine the first act. There was some really funny moments in there. Like I'll go into one scene that really, the feet scene, and then you can say the dog scene. So that there is one sequence where they're basically they've come up from hospital, and the main character's ex-boyfriend, who is the boyfriend of the kid who's in hospital's sister, right? They basically go home together because I think he hasn't got anywhere to stay, so she invites him to her house. Not in like a a relationship way or anything like that. Even though they still they still want to get it on.
They still got it.
They still got it. And then there is a sequence where basically she falls asleep, and then what is it again now, Josh? Who comes to the room? I can't remember. Who is it?
Oh, it's just some old guy or some old girl.
Yeah,
some old woman.
No, yeah, that's it. Yeah. An old woman comes in the dream.
Yeah, like she wakes up and she thinks she's seeing this old woman like crawl across the floor.
Yeah, and then the old woman starts like sucking on this man's feet,
sucking the shit out of this man's feet.
And then basically she's like awake, and then
finds out that she's the one.
And the guy's like, "What are you doing?" It's so.
Yeah, that was fucking disgusting.
That ruined me. If you want to say about the dog scene as well, Tuss.
I mean, the dog scene is so much fucking, I think, worse. The same guy. This guy's getting fucked around with left and right in this movie.
It was disgusting.
Yeah, the same guy who got his toes sucked at the beginning of the movie did the hand thing, and he like immediately falls to the ground and starts like dry humping the ground. And then as he's doing that, the dog comes up to him and like they start making out with each other.
Like,
and the camera, bro, again, the camera is on them, like really close to them. And I'm like 3 rows back staring up at this, like, gee, what the fuck am I watching right now?
That's kind of like what I like, though, is the fact that they don't shy away from being self-aware. Though
they went for it.
A lot
they
of this
absolutely went for it.
Like a lot of this is silly. It's almost like I can't really think of another example now, but a lot of it is silly, like a Malignant, for example.
Yeah, it's very campy, but like there was enough like really frightening, disturbing sequences that like pulled this movie back to like being a great horror film as opposed to being like a great campy horror film.
Yeah, exactly. And they have actually, I don't know if you saw the news, they've already filmed a prequel for it.
Oh shit, I did not see that.
They've already filmed a prequel. It's pretty an early stage, but I think they've already filmed or in the midway through filming a prequel for Talk to Me on the basically the hand and the like the demons and stuff origin, which I think would be really interesting. And now I know what they can do. It makes me even more excited.
Now I'm even more excited. Now that I've seen the film and I'm like aware of these two guys and like how capable they are of like fucking me up mentally, I'm all for it. I want to, whenever you're ready, I want to talk about the ending.
Go for it.
What happened? Did she jump into traffic, or did the sister push her into traffic? That was my first question out of the theater.
It's interesting because I think it's one of those I'd have to watch again, but I would assume that she jumped into traffic.
See, I don't know. I think the opposite. Because this, I don't know. Because the sister was sprinting down that hill because the girl was obviously about to throw her fucking brother into oncoming traffic. So, but it's just that was one of those like, yeah, go.
I was just saying that was the only way that she knew how and to find out how to save him.
Yeah, exactly.
Was to kill him and get the possession out of him.
Yeah.
But I don't know that
it's like one of those up for interpretation things where it's just like, I don't know. Like, I don't know if she threw herself into traffic or if she was pushed or whatnot. But I loved that, like, there was no happy ending for her. Like, she's now dead and she is who people are going to be summoning when they use the hand.
Yeah, there's a lot to like look into. I think I would lean towards one way, but then again, I think it might be her dying as a reliever of what she's been going through.
Yeah, I could see
think
that
buy
as
her on
well.
that.
Like I could see her having decided to kill herself to like end her suffering, obviously not knowing that if she were to kill herself, she will just be on the other end of the hand now when people use it.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, really, really good film.
Yeah,
I
I
really
enjoyed it a
enjoyed it.
lot. I
We
want to
both
see it
did.
again. I really want to see it again. I want Victoria to watch it, honestly.
Yeah, I want Anna to watch it, but she never fucking will. Like, there's literally zero chance. But I obviously we say like, I recommend anyone who listens to this who isn't a horror aficionado still go and see it because it's not that.
It's really not. Yeah,
People are gonna lie, it's the scariest film ever. Like, it's not. And
you should err on the side of caution if you're like if you get woozy or like you can't stomach like really disturbing
it's more
gore.
the blood. Yeah.
But like there was one jump scare which really was effective when the dad started running at her. Also, dude,
that was good. That was a really good scene.
The scene when she puts a knife in her dad's throat, I saw that. It was like, again, I say this about a lot of movies. It was like watching a car accident in slow motion. I knew exactly where this was going. Like as the dad was coming in, there was two dads. As the real dad was coming into the room, I knew as I saw her going to grab the scissors, I was like, this poor man is about to catch the worst of this. And it just immediately she puts it right in his throat. And I was like, fuck, I knew that was coming.
That's what I mean, though. Like, even though part of it was of a predictable nature, it was still unquestionably effective in the way it was handled.
That was again another scene that my theater just audibly let out like oh no.
I never get these experiences. Like, it's crazy. Barbarian's the only ever film.
Oh
ever.
Really, bro? I had between Talk to Me and The Blackening, my theaters were like loud. They were audible. They were reacting to things.
No, I think I quite like that in a film like that. To be honest, it's different.
It worked. Not like an annoying like MCU movie where like people are like screaming and clapping and cheering. It's just like people are just reacting, which I loved.
Yeah. So yeah, definitely go and see it if you can. Me and George really enjoyed it. I give it a 4. George also gave it a 4, but we might go down and rewatch. We want to obviously have a look. But before we go into our Pixar, I'll let George quickly touch on his number 1 film of the year, which is like is it a remake?
It is a remake. And I've never seen the original, but it is
the original binds so good.
I've never seen it. So very, very quickly, I watched the new Haunted Mansion movie. I can't believe I wasted my time on this film. I texted you guys. I fell asleep for like a half hour. And I can't remember the last time I fell asleep in a movie. In a theater, obviously, if I start a movie late in my apartment, I'll fall asleep. But in a theater, I cannot remember the last time I fell asleep. But I was in and out for a good like half hour. It just it felt like the biggest money grab piece of shit you could ever watch.
And it's not doing that at all.
It's not doing that at all. It's flopping like crazy, which honestly, I don't even think that's because of the movie being bad. I just think it came out at a poor time with Barbie and Oppenheimer, and now Talk to Me is taking away a lot of audience members.
Yeah.
And also, why the fuck are even Victoria said this? Why are you releasing a Haunted Mansion movie in the middle of the goddamn summer?
Anna said the same thing. She was like, "Why would you not release it around October time?" It's really weird.
That's just the worst decision making I could have ever seen. My review of the movie on Letterboxd is they must have offered Lakeith Stanfield a bag for him to say yes to this.
Was he the main character?
He was, yeah. Okay. He is so much better than this.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was just the most bland, uninspired film I've seen all year. I really did not have a good time with it. I'll leave my thoughts there. I'm not talking about this film for a while.
Does it follow? Just so I know, does it follow like two parents and a kid who move to this house, and it's like this big mansion in the middle of nowhere?
Yeah.
And
so
the butler and the woman, you find out the woman, spoiler, but you know what I'm going to say. Is it the same?
So a mother and her daughter and her son move into this mansion. It's haunted. Lakeith Stanfield plays this like ex-scientist.
Oh, so there's no husband with him this time?
No.
So
spoilers. The main woman's husband passed away.
Because that's what happened in this one. In the old one. But Eddie Murphy was the husband who went in with them. So there's an extra.
No, I've never seen the original, so I don't know. But yeah, and then Lakeith Stanfield plays like this ex-scientist who basically like built this camera that can take pictures of ghosts. So they hire him to come into the haunted mansion to figure shit out. I don't know. And then Owen Wilson is there too. So is Danny DeVito. Weird. It's a stupid movie. Don't watch it.
Interesting. But yeah, we will get into our Pixar rankings. Now, what we said, we thought this would be a better idea. We thought we were going to do a top 10 and a bottom 5. We'll probably do it like we usually do. So we'll go 10 to 5, and then from 5 to 1, we can speak about stuff in a little bit more detail. But we'll start off with the Pixar 10 to 1. I'm going to go with Tyler. Obviously, Tyler hasn't spoken in a while. So if you want to give us your 10 to 6, and then we'll go from there.
Yeah, so whoops.
You're on mute, my friend.
My bad. So I will say that my Pixar ranking has a little bit of an asterisk to it because I don't have them all logged and rated on Letterboxd, which means that I've only seen, I think I have like 15 logged and there's 27 total. So that means I've seen 15 of them within the past, what is that, like year and a half now when I started Letterboxd. But I've seen like 24 out of 27. I think there's only a couple like Onward I haven't seen. And then the other ones aren't really coming ahead. That might be the only one I haven't seen. But because I don't have them
Onward would not be in your top 10, but it wouldn't be in your bottom 5.
It'd be middle for everyone.
Yeah, so I think
it's fine.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Well, even with that, like since I don't have stuff rated exactly, like some of my top 10 is a little bit like guesswork and stay on my bottom 5, but I feel good about the movies in there. But like when I officially rank them, you might see the exact order switch up a bit. But that being said, the disclaimer out of the way. Number 10, hot take. I have WALL-E. I mean, it has to be in your top 10, but I think a lot of people have it a lot higher. I don't know exactly where you guys hold it, but I know like the general consensus would have WALL-E as like a top 3 Pixar movie probably. Yeah. Number 9, I have Monsters Inc., which I know Seth, you're really, really high on. Maybe probably like as far as ReelTok guys, I think you're the highest on it. So we'll probably we'll probably hear you go on it. I mean, you've talked about it on the pod several times.
I do like it a lot.
So yeah,
stop ruining the excitement.
Monsters Inc. I enjoyed a lot when I was a kid, and then I rewatched it like 3 weeks ago or so, and I still really liked it. And that's kind of a disclaimer I was going to say before the bottom 5, but just in general, Pixar, like they have some misses, but there's only like 2 Pixar movies that I really just didn't like absolutely hated, but there's so many that like I'll watch and I don't like them, but it's like I didn't feel like I wasted my time or hated them. There's at least like 2 movies or maybe even 3 of my bottom 5 Pixar movies that like I didn't hate watching them. I just like they're in the bottom 5. Pixar's a very good company.
Very consistent.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it's tough to rank these all, but so 10 WALL-E, 9 Monsters Inc., 8 we got Toy Story 2, 7 Finding Nemo, 6 Toy Story 3. The Toy Stories for me are all pretty neck and neck, but Toy Story 2, Finding Nemo, Toy Story 3 rounds out my 8, 7, 6. And yeah, there's my 10 through 6.
That's kind of how I expected it to be fair. I think I know most of your top 5. George, 10 to 6.
10 to 6, yeah. I feel like it's such an interesting, because like I ditto what Tyler said. Like Pixar's a really consistent like franchise, and like even our top 10s, like if my number 10 is one of your number 1s, I'm not going to like be upset about that like at all. But yeah, my number 10 is Toy Story 2. I feel like this is the forgotten bunch of the Toy Story films. Obviously 3 and 1, everyone holds very highly, and 4 is just because it's the most recent, but I think 2 is still an incredibly solid entry.
I agree. People don't speak about 2 as much as people about 3 and 1.
Yeah. I mean, which makes sense, but
it's so good.
Yeah. I still think it's top 10 for me. Number 9, I got Finding Nemo. This is just like one of my most rewatched strictly because I was obsessed with it when I was a child. I absolutely love this movie. Number 8 is the British fan favorite Ratatouille.
Yeah.
I do like Ratatouille as much as I rag on it, which I don't rag on it. I just rag on how much you British folk hold it so highly. But I do like Ratatouille a lot. Number 7 is Up, and there's been recent discourse that I've been seeing where people are like, oh, you only like Up because of the first 15 minutes. And it's like, no, but that's a big part of it. I like the whole movie. And then number 6 is where I have WALL-E. I hold WALL-E very highly on both my animated ranking list and my science fiction list and my movies that take place in space list. I really, really love WALL-E. Its look at humanity as well. Its science fiction elements are just really solid to me. So Toy Story 2, Finding Nemo, Ratatouille, Up, and WALL-E are my 10 through 6.
Okay. So I will go for 10 to 6. My 10 is Soul. Really, really good actually. I do need to give an honorable mention here because I can't not. Monsters University is very good, and that is all I'll hear about that one. Okay.
Wow,
If
you're gonna hate my bottom 5.
if you, crazy. No, there's no way. I'll go Soul 10. Then I'll go Coco 9. Probably one of the most recent watched on this list. Really, really good.
Remember when I said if your 10 is my 1, I'll be upset?
That's not your 1.
Okay.
Is it? No, I don't believe that.
You'll fucking
And
find
it wasn't
out,
his
bro.
10, it was his 9.
Oh, he's your 9 too.
Yeah, you've given it away. My 8 is one that you guys haven't mentioned. I'm a lot higher on this than most people, I will be honest, and that's Luca.
That's my number 11. I was going to shout it out as an honorable mention. But yeah.
Such a huge fan of that film. I think it was so good.
Cam is also very high on Luca.
He's actually
well.
not. He's 4-star is high, but he's like, I've got it at 4.5. I really like Luca. Then I have Toy Story 2, like George said, The Forgotten Wild. He's so good. Stinky Pete, man. He was an enemy. He was so bad. He was so good. He was such a good character. I really Toy Story 2 was incredible. I'm with Tyler, so my 7 is Toy Story 2, and my 6 is Toy Story. They're very, very close together. The first one, the second, and obviously the third, which will come soon, obviously. But yeah, So I have Soul 10, 9 Coco, 8 Luca, 7 Toy Story 2, and 6 Toy Story. Tyler, do you want to give it your number 5?
Yeah, so of course at number 8 was Toy Story 2, number 6 Toy Story 3, and number 5 for me is Toy Story. I think the first 3 are all very close. I feel like the fourth one's a love-hate relationship. Some people really wish they didn't have it come out, but for me, I mean, I haven't seen it since like it came out in theaters, but I really liked it when I saw it in theaters, so I haven't rewatched it. I think it was still definitely a fun addition to the franchise. It's not top 10 worthy for me, but so I guess that's spoilers. My top 4 does not have Toy Story 4 if you're holding your breath for that one.
Shocker.
But yeah, my number 5 is Toy Story. It's iconic. Like I watched it so much growing up. I was a huge, Buzz and Woody fan. Like had the action figures, dressed up as them as much as I could. Just always run around the house screaming to infinity and beyond. I need to rewatch it. It's been forever, but I remember seeing like a clip of it like recently, and it's just funny when you're a kid, or just in general. I feel like with movie technology, whether it's animated or live action, you don't really think of what things look like in the past until you go back and revisit them. Yeah. So like the animation of the original Toy Story took me by massive surprise. I saw a clip. I was like, did it really look that? It doesn't look bad, but you know what I mean? It's like kind of like, wow, did it really look that like dated and aged? And that just kind of speaks to how advanced animation technology is nowadays. But it's the same with live action too. But yeah, when I saw that clip of it, I was like, I feel like it did not look that like rough compared to modern.
It, to be honest.
I'm not saying it in a derogatory way, but it's just like in terms of advanced animation styles, I was like, man, it was a lot more elementary than I remembered. But yeah, no one can have a top 10 Pixar list without like, I'm going to say no one can have a top 10 Pixar list without at least 2 Toy Stories in it. Otherwise, that's just crazy.
Wait, which Toy Story did you have at 5? Was it 3 or was it?
At 5, I have Toy Story 1, but at 6, I have Toy Story 3. So
and then 7, Toy Story 2.
8 Toy Story 2, but yeah, they're all neck and neck. The only thing Finding Nemo's breaking up in between them, but yeah.
Oh, rip. George, give me a 5.
We'll continue talking about Toy Story. My number 5, apologies, is Toy Story 3. I really love this conclusion to like the OG trilogy. There's so much heart. It's also just like one of those movies that just speaks volumes to like growing up and letting go of your childhood and kind of maturing. But also it's a reminder to like never forget about your childhood and just appreciate those moments as much as you can. I'm not one of those like haters of Toy Story 4 at all. I think it's a rather good movie, but I do wish the trilogy had just ended with Toy Story 3. I think it was just such a fantastic ending and we didn't necessarily need a sequel to it. But again, I do like Toy Story 4. But yeah, Toy Story 3 comes in at number 5 for me.
If Toy Story actually was a trilogy, that would like on average be my like 3rd highest trilogy ever. I think it would be like higher than The Godfather. I'm pretty sure.
What would be number 2? Am I forgetting something?
Cornetto trilogy.
Oh,
2,
yeah,
5,
of course. Yeah, your top 2 trilogies are your favorite movies ever. So yeah, those will never be topped.
Yeah, it would be
Toy Story trilogy. The OG trilogy would definitely probably be top 10 for me.
Yeah, very, very good. My 5 is WALL-E. So there you go, Tyler. George, you had it at like 6?
I had it at 6. Yes, sir.
I had it 5. Tyler had it at, where did you have it, Tyler? Was it 8?
Number 10.
Oh, wow.
I will say though, like looking at my rankings, my number 3 through
all get changed.
8 are like all interchangeable.
Yeah, same. Yeah, I don't even argue like my top 5. It's just so close.
Yeah, like I think my top 2 are like fairly cemented there, but like 3 through 8, I could have rearranged these in any order and been happy with my ranking.
Yeah. My 5 is WALL-E, as I mentioned. I think WALL-E's fantastic. It's personal. It's intimate. It's great showcase for the environment. It's loving. It's just a joyful watch. It's a gentle watch, and I think it's one of arguably Pixar's most intelligent film, especially when it comes to kids' work as well. I would have WALL-E at my 5. Tyler,
I like that gentle watch.
It's a gentle watch.
I like that. I'm gonna start that. It reminds me of like I adore this film. Like it's a very endearing compliment.
I don't know if I've ever said gentle watch in my life.
I was gonna say I've never heard
WALL-E
it
just
in my
pulled
life.
that out of me. Then
I like that a lot. I really
thinking of that
that
little guy. Just pulled it out of me. Then Tyler, do you want to give you a number 4?
Yeah, my number 4. It almost feels disrespectful putting it at number 4 because I love it so much. But that again speaks to what we've already been talking about, how Pixar is so consistent and they've been consistently great. I mean, they've made 27 films, and I think there's like at least 15 of them that I would not bat an eye if anyone had in their top 3, honestly. So number 4 for me is Inside Out. Absolutely adore this movie. It's super emotional. It works for me. I have like another layer added to it because it's like she's moving, like her family moves, or like my family didn't move, but it's like moving from Minnesota to somewhere else, trying to get used to it, and that's like where I'm from. And obviously the girl's name Riley. That's my girlfriend's name, so the Riley Minnesota connection make it even better for me. But yeah, Inside Out's awesome. I didn't even watch it for the first time until, I don't know if it was either early 2023 or late 2022, but really it was because of George just always talking about and hyping it up, and I finally was like, I put this Pixar off for too long, and I loved it from first watch.
That's what I'm saying. For everyone listening, I have elite movie taste. If I give you a recommendation,
me Inside Out though.
Did you watch it?
Yeah, it was fine.
Okay, well you're wrong. Whatever. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. I care so much.
Yeah, I know you do.
Please rewatch it.
No. Although you can say, George, Anna has it like number 1, so that should make you feel a little bit
Anna, listen, that IQ, her Goodfellas rating holds it down, but
what about her Empire Strikes Back rating?
Oh, what does she have Empire Strikes Back at?
1.
Oh God. I feel like I never knew that.
Yeah, no. George, give me your number 4.
My number 4 is, in my humble opinion, one of the best superhero movies out there, The Incredibles.
Yeah.
When I was a young lad, I would go to the beach and I would run on like the part where the water meets the sand, and I would pretend like I was running on water really goddamn fast, which was so dope.
I'm just going to point this out. I tried to drink water and the cat was on. That's really embarrassing. That still looked great. And
I didn't see that.
I
didn't see that. I missed it. I'm going to make that a TikTok clip. But yeah, I got I got The Incredibles at number 4. I just really, really love this film. I always have. Again, it's just like Finding Nemo for me. It's one of my like most rewatched like childhood favorites that, it just has always stuck with me. I will say I haven't rewatched it in a while. So honestly, I'd be curious, just since Tyler mentioned like the animation not holding up in Toy Story, I'd be curious how it holds up in The Incredibles, because I feel like that's one of those movies I remember just looking like stunning, like incorporating all of like these superhero powers.
It's really, it looked really good.
Yeah.
That was like a little bit later. It was like maybe 10 years after, like 10 years after Toy Story. Wait, when did Incredibles? No, maybe I'm wrong.
Incredibles came out in 2004 and Toy Story came out in 95.
95, yeah. So
wow, I did not peep that.
Yeah, Toy Story is actually like old.
That's an old ass movie. Damn. But yeah, Incredibles number 4. Love that movie. One of my childhood favorites.
Yeah, cool. My number 4 is Toy Story 3. I switch, honestly, like serious, like my Toy Story ranking of the first 3. I'm same as you guys. I think the 4th one is pretty good. I enjoyed it. But the 1 to 3 just switch all the time. But I've rewatched all the Pixar's like fairly recently, in the last year or so, and I think Toy Story 3 just edges it, but like it's so slight. And then WALL-E just slots in the middle, like Tyler with Finding Nemo. But Toy Story 3 is it's just fantastic. It just elevates the character so much. I think Lotso the bear it's just a great character, just fantastic. it's emotional. It's got really, really good themes of power, of moving away, and I think I love the weird and wacky characters it presents. It was kind of big, it was bold, and the ending is just fantastic and will never fail to sadden me. But yeah, Toy Story 3 is my number 4. Right now, I'd say the best of the Toy Story films. That could change tomorrow, because I do think the 1, 2, and 3 are so close. It's crazy. But yeah, Tyler, if you want to give it your number 3 into the top 3 now.
Yeah, my number 3 has already been mentioned, but it is Incredibles. It's a great superhero movie, as well as I've rewatched this recently, and it's like the comedy in this hits so good. Like I was just smiling and laughing the whole time. Like the track scene at the end with Dash and his whole family yelling at him to speed up and slow down just had me rolling. Like even though this is like my 7th time seeing it, I didn't know that Brad Bird, who obviously directed this and has directed a lot of Pixar movies as well as like Mission Impossible. Yeah. Ghost Protocol, maybe. He played Edna E. Mode. I didn't know he voiced that character. That's kind of iconic.
I realized that recently as well.
Yeah, and it's funny. Like the character of Violet in The Incredibles, I feel like is the most like she to me is just like Aubrey Plaza. Like, and it's funny because it's like before Aubrey Plaza became like a thing. Like she was Aubrey Plaza when this came out was probably like I don't know like 10 or something. Like probably not, I don't think she was an actress at that point, but she just gives out that same exact energy.
10, surely.
Something like that, like 20 years ago. She's probably like 32. Let's see, Aubrey Plaza age. She's 39. Damn. Okay. Good for her. She looks good for 39. She's about to be 40.
She does look good for 39.
Yeah. Good job. But I don't think at least she was an actress back in 2004. Maybe I'm mistaken. But she just gives out the same exact energy as Violet to me. But yeah, The Incredibles is so fun, and I did rewatch it recently. I didn't get the same kind of shock with the animation that I did with Toy Story at all. I think The Incredibles looks really good. And The Incredibles 2, it's not in my top 10, but I think a lot of people hate on that movie. I actually really enjoyed it. I've only seen it once. It was when I was interning in Boston and we all got drunk and went to see it, so maybe that influenced it, but I had a lot of fun with The Incredibles 2, so I think it's an overhated movie.
Is it hated?
I think it's kind of hated.
It at 4.5. I like it a chunk.
Oh, really? I have it at 3.5. I do like it. I don't love it, though. Maybe it is hated, actually. Yeah. Most sequels are.
I feel like it's a very forgotten film.
Yeah, it's like Finding Dory.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's a forgotten film.
Yeah, it really is.
George,
if you want to give... Do you say that, though? But this shit makes money.
Yeah,
crazy
obviously. My number 3 is Toy Story. I have this as my number 1 ranked Toy Story film. What more needs to be said about this movie? It's both influential and just amazing. The screenplay is as emotional as it can be, just endearing and hysterical. So many fond memories watching this movie as a child. It's just, I don't know. It's another childhood favorite of mine that I absolutely fucking adore. It's top 3 maybe for just sheer influence and just what it did for the animation genre, or not genre, medium. I apologize, Guillermo del Toro. But yeah, got Toy Story at number 3.
Me and Tyler share number 3, which is The Incredibles. Just easily one of my favorite superhero projects ever. It's the quintessential family superhero genre, drama that has each character has a relatable problems, relatable issues in life, which I really, really appreciate. And it's grounded, it's realistic, but it's also like hilarious. I still think the first Incredibles, the comedy lands so much. You've got like Samuel L. Jackson just pulling out these one-liners. You've got Edna Mode just telling me he can't have any capes. It's so funny. It never gets old for me. It never tires. Miss Incredible.
Come on now.
She's thick.
There was no need for that.
In the second one especially, it was crazy. I'm not even joking.
The most iconic thing about that is that she can shapeshift her body to be whatever she wants, so she chooses to be that way. She chooses to have the dump truck. She gets to pick whatever she wants to look like.
So she just puts a fatty on her behind 24/7.
But yeah, Incredible. It's just, I mean, The Incredibles is incredible, and I'll leave it at that. Pretty inventive. Tyler, number 2.
Yeah, so, speaking of Incredibles, like I remember just having the DVD as a kid, and they had like the Jack Attack short on it, and I watched that all the time as a kid. Yeah. Jack, I was obsessed with. He was definitely my favorite when I was a kid, and him and Dash. But my number 2 is Ratatouille. I don't know, man. This movie is just so fun, so lighthearted. It's just, I don't know. It's like one of the funnest watches. I feel like a lot of Pixar's like that I really enjoy have an emotional hit. So I'd say The Incredibles and Ratatouille kind of fit in terms of being ones that you can watch and have a really good time with. They still like play with emotions and stuff, but I feel like they're not as heavy of watches as other ones, and I appreciate them for that. Ratatouille obviously makes the dish of Ratatouille at the end look like the most scrumptious thing in the world. When I've had it in real life, and it's just a very fine dish. Like it's just nothing like crazy, but the way
it's not amazing, is it?
Right. It's just it's just something, basically just like a bunch of veggies like chopped up and put some like sauce on it. But the way they make it look and taste in this movie makes it look like
it looks amazing.
Yeah,
that final sequence.
Yeah, insane.
Oh,
but yeah, you're just rooting for Remy the whole time. You just want them to let him be a chef because he's clearly elite in the kitchen. But yeah, I want to see a Ratatouille and the bear crossover. It'd be iconic. See Remy in that kitchen, just letting things go down in Chicago. But yeah, Ratatouille, iconic.
George, number 2.
Yes, sir. My number 2, a film that I talk very highly about, a film that I talk very regularly about, and that is Inside Out. This movie played with my emotions more so than any other animated film has ever done. It had me hysterically crying. Several scenes, obviously the Bing Bong scene, the ending scene when Riley is, confronting her parents, it put my emotions in a goddamn blender. And, I feel like you guys know me well enough to know that I rate movies very highly that can like really damage me emotionally, and Inside Out is one of those that did that. And like we said about several other films on these lists, the comedy hits. It's just incredible watching the back and forth banter between all of the emotions of sadness and fear and joy and whatever, disgust. It's just a movie that just hits all the right beats for me. And like Tyler said, just, all of the mature themes that are handled in a very, reserved way that can speak to both, children and adults and young adults. It's just one of those movies that I just absolutely love. It has so many scenes that I could pull that would be in, my top 10 to 15 animated scenes of all time. I got Inside Out at number 2.
I remember when I watched Inside Out for the first time, I watched it with Anna. I turned around at what's his name? Bing Bong.
Bing Bong.
And looking at her, it was like looking at me the first time I was watching like Schindler's List or some shit. She was like drowning in tears. It's crazy.
Yeah, that's a movie that has fucked with my emotions like crazy.
Yeah. So my number 2 is Monsters Inc. As Tyler spoiled earlier, Monsters Inc. is definitely one of my favorites. I just think Monsters Inc. is so charming. It's you'll probably notice, an ongoing theme with me, Dungeons and Dragons being an example. I love weird shit. I love weird characters I can just have fun with. I loved Monsters Inc. as a kid, and I still do now. Just going around this world and seeing so many absolute strange, hideous, freaky characters, and just being so in awe at just the creativeness behind it. It's such an inventive thing. It actually has some really good social commentary as well, with the main villain. What's his name? Shit, what's his name?
Who, for Monsters Inc.?
Yeah, what's his name? I always forget his name.
Randall.
No, the main villain.
Who the fuck is the main villain? That's not Randall.
Because Randall's like a good guy, man, even though he's not. But Mr. Waternoose, the big claw-looking guy. Anyway, he's like, there is a lot in terms of like capitalist society and stuff like that. I think it's really well shown. It's so funny, and like Tyler said with Ratatouille, it doesn't put me in like an existential crisis like a lot of Pixar's try to nowadays, I feel, but unsuccessfully with a lot of them. Sully and Mike are just some of my favorite characters ever, regardless of animation. I can watch it over and over again and just have as much fun with it as I did the first time, because it's just a story on friendship. It's fun. It's adorable, and yeah, Monsters Inc. is similar to like George said with The Incredibles. I used to watch Monsters Inc. on repeat. Same with The Incredibles as well. When I was a kid, and I can still watch it now and just enjoy it just as much. I think it's just fantastic. So Tyler, give us your number 1.
Yeah, it's funny that you mentioned that Monsters Inc. doesn't put you in an existential crisis because when I just rewatched it recently, it kind of did because the last third of it just like hit so hard about like life, like similar to kind of like La La Land, honestly, where it's like people being so endlessly career focused and only caring about work and how it just damages your relationships with everyone and your life just becomes soulless and meaningless. Those are the type of movies that hit me super hard because obviously you guys know I'm a straight up certified workaholic. So like anything where it's like movies about not working so hard and appreciating life, I'm like, fuck yeah, I should probably do that a little more. Number one for me is Coco. It's from the moment I watched it for the first time, it was just like I knew that was probably my number one Pixar, and it's just gonna be really hard for Pixar to ever release anything from me personally it's ever gonna top it. Absolutely love it. I think the world they build is so awesome. I think there's a lot of parallels you can draw to what the Spirited Away world is like, but it's just so cool, and I feel like the way they infuse just so much Mexican themes into it, and the soundtrack just absolutely bangs. Like Riley and I listen to that pretty often. Like we just, when we're like cleaning the house or something, we'll just throw it on like the Alexa speaker and just have Coco soundtrack playing while we're cleaning up the house. And yeah, I don't know. It's just like a movie that took me by surprise when I saw it. Cause again, that was one that I'd never seen until Riley showed it to me, and she loved the movie, and I watched it. I was like, damn, that's like probably gonna be my forever favorite Pixar movie. So number one for me is Coco. I won't say much more because I have a inkling that someone else might be talking about it. So I'll pause there.
I will say as well that the guy, what's his name, Ernesto de la Cruz.
Yeah, perfect.
I think he's the second best villain in Pixar altogether. I think he was fantastic. And I also agree. I know what you mean with the Spirited Away parallel as well. It's almost reminiscent of that. It's weird. By the way, the best villain of Pixar is, of course, Syndrome. Just to get that out there for George Carmi.
I'd agree with that. Just piggybacking off everything Tyler said, Coco is my number one. In my mind, without a doubt, the most beautifully animated Pixar film, one of the most beautifully animated Pixar animated films ever. It's stunning to look at. It's stunning to attach yourself emotionally to these characters and their stories and their relationships. And I think this movie just hits all the right beats when it comes to making you laugh, making you cry, also educating you on this culture and really just allowing you to admire what's going on within the Mexican culture and their traditions as well as their music. I think this movie has some of the most lovable characters that Pixar has ever created, and I just love watching little Miguel just go on this journey through the land of the dead, which again, like Tyler said, the land of the dead is just so beautiful, and the world building around it is just stunning to watch. Without a doubt, my number one Coco film, and I'm honestly in like the same boat as Tyler. I'll be very shocked if Pixar can top Coco for me.
Did you know what you said then, by the way?
What did I say?
Your number one Coco film. How many is that?
Oh, fuck. Did I say that?
Has it always been your number one? Or is it more recently? How long has Coco been your number one?
Inside Out was my number one for quite some time. And then the reason I actually put Coco above it is because one night I was a little bit not sober. And I did one of those things on like TikTok where you come across like part 1 of 37 of a film. Like an hour and a half later, I'm searching for like part 28, and I'm watching this whole movie on TikTok, and I'm like, the fact that this movie is hitting and I'm watching it on TikTok just says something about this movie. So that's when I decided to put it at number one. But yeah, it's really, I will say it is neck and neck between Inside Out and Coco. I do love them both equally, but I think the reason I put Coco at number one is just because if I have to pick which one I'd most want to rewatch right now, it's going to be Coco.
Interesting. My number one.
Oh, surprise.
Cars 2. My number one is Ratatouille, of course. What a surprise. Ratatouille is an interesting one. It's again, childhood favorites that I've watched constantly. I just think it's so lovely. It's a themes of anyone can do anything, anyone can achieve whatever they want to in life. It's just a loving testament to art, a loving abode to food and art and artistry and creating your craft and being as best as you can be. I think the characters are great. I think the humor in Ratatouille is fantastic as well. Linguini is just a hilarious character that I can just watch do stupid shit over and over again. I also think it's one of the, especially that era, it's hard to compare in terms of animation because of how much it's advanced, as Tyler was saying. So I think Coco, for me, would be the best looking one of the past, especially the past decade anyway. But I think around the era of Ratatouille, kind of the early-ish era of Pixar, 2007, I think it was. It's the best looking for me in terms of the vibe, the Paris streets, the colors, the food. I've wanted to eat that ratatouille. I wanted to eat that ratatouille for so long, and then like Tyler, I tried it in France. And I was like, yes, it's fine. I mean, I don't really get it because it looks so good in that shit. You know what I mean? Like the last scene, crazy. But yeah, Ratatouille is my number one. I think all of us now should just run through before we go our top 5 worst, just run through our top 10. So I had Soul at 10, Coco at 9, Luca at 8, Toy Story 2 at 7, Toy Story at 6, WALL-E at 5, Toy Story 3 at 4, Incredibles at 3, Monsters Inc. at 2, and Ratatouille at 1. Tyler, top 10.
Number 10, WALL-E. Number 9, Monsters Inc. Number 8, Toy Story 2. Number 7, Finding Nemo. Number 6, Toy Story 3. Number 5, Toy Story. Number 4, Inside Out. Number 3, The Incredibles. Number 2, Ratatouille. And number 1, Coco.
Nice.
One breath.
George. Struggle.
I got Toy Story 2 at number 10, Finding Nemo at 9, Ratatouille at 8, Up at 7, WALL-E at 6, Toy Story 3 at 5, The Incredibles at 4, Toy Story at 3, Inside Out at 2, and Coco at number 1.
Perfect. Let us know who you think wins our draft. It wasn't.
I win.
Please don't vote on it. Don't do that shit. We're gonna get George's minions in the comments. We haven't said that in a while. Actually, I don't know if it exists anymore. It's crazy.
Because that's Illumination, not Pixar. Let's keep it Pixar themed. Not talking about minions right now.
Yeah, shit. Cross promotion. We'll go over. So this is the controversial bit. This is the bit people aren't going to like us for, especially with, I would guess, especially me and Tyler's picks. I don't know about George. We're going to go over our bottom 5, and because it's only 5, we'll just do what we did with the top 5 of the previous one. So go over 5 to 1. 5 being the least worst, I guess. The best of a bad bunch. Tyler, if you want to give your 5 to 1 of the worst films, anyway, just give the 5.
I think Seth won't like this take, but again, this is like Pixar's so consistent.
Don't you dare say that
word
beginning with an M.
No. This is a 2.5 out of 5 for me. So this is like an average movie to me. So this is not bad by any means. Putting it in a bottom 5 like feels wrong. But to me, this one just didn't hit. I think it hit for you, but Turning Red just didn't do it for me. I just didn't connect with
3.5. I wouldn't say it's 3.5. It's like very middle of the road.
Fair. It just didn't hit for me. It just didn't connect. But again, like I watched it, absolutely was not like that was a waste of time. I just watched it as like, yeah, that was fine. That was average, but not a bad movie by any stretch of the imagination. That movie being in the bottom 5 of Pixar for me just speaks volumes to Pixar as a whole.
George.
Yeah, I mean, I'll start by saying pretty much exactly what Tyler said. My number 5 is still, or my 5th worst Pixar movie is still a 3 out of 5. So again, I don't think that says anything bad about the movie. I think that more so just says how good and consistent Pixar has been. And I will also say a lot of my bottom 5 is just because of how unforgettable these movies are to me. Number 5 is Monsters University. I could not tell you a thing that happened in that movie. That movie went in one ear and out the other. I could not give a fuck about any part of it.
You have a positive rate, so I don't really mind.
Yeah, but again, like it was fine. It was just.
I really want you to rewatch it, man. That shit's good.
Listen, I am due for a rewatch. I will say I haven't rewatched it in a while. That's why I think my bottom 5 is a little skewed. There's a lot of movies I haven't watched just because of how unforgettable and bland I remember them being. But it's fine. It's a fine movie.
Okay.
So I'm sorry, Seth. I'm sorry.
My 5 is Brave. I don't know. Brave's a weird one, man. Like, I don't hate it. Again, this is a 3-star for me. So just to echo what you two were saying, it says a lot about Pixar's consistency. I actually only have 4 films at 2.5 or lower. Brave was just kind of, it was fine. I quite liked the story, but it was a bit dull a lot of the time, and it was also quite annoying, I thought, as well. There was some characters which I do think were quite funny, and I think it was a celebration of like Scotland and Scotland's traditions. But it was just fine. It was just quite bland a lot of time, a bit boring. Had some funny moments. I really like the animation on it. But it was pretty much to me very forgettable, like a Monsters University incorrectly was to George over there. But Brave is my 5. Tyler, your 4.
My number 4 is simply my 4th worst, simply because I don't have this one rated, but it's because I just have no interest to rewatch it. And the movie is The Good Dinosaur, and I feel like The Good Dinosaur and Brave are the most like unlike Pixar movies ever. Not necessarily because of the story or the animation or anything, but it's just like when I'm thinking about Pixar movies and someone says like Brave or The Good Dinosaur, I'm like, wait, was that Pixar? And then I like look it up, I'm like, oh, that was Pixar.
Yeah,
like, they just don't feel like a Pixar movie. And The Good Dinosaur, the fact that it came out in 2015, like my mind would have I thought it came out way before that. Like I saw it and I just have no interest in rewatching it. Whereas honestly, even like the Pixar movies I have lower on this list, like in order to get it rated on Letterboxd, I'd probably want to watch it before I watch The Good Dinosaur. There's just nothing about it is drawing me back to it. I can't remember anything that happened, and there's nothing that makes me want to ever watch it again, but I will eventually, obviously, to get my official Pixar rankings out there. But it's a very forgettable, bland movie.
Yeah, I agree. George?
Yeah, just go right off of that because my 4th worst is The Good Dinosaur as well, and pretty much for the exact same reasons. It's just forgettable. Could not tell you one character's name, could not tell you a thing that happened in that movie. That movie, again, in one ear, out the other, have never once been compelled to watch it again, which, obviously we all rate movies differently, but for me, I hold rewatch value rather highly, and I've never once been like, oh, let me turn on The Good Dinosaur tonight. This shit cool.
Yeah, I agree. My 4 is Cars 3. No, it's not. I'm lying. My 4 is Lightyear. From last year.
Yo,
Oh, wow. Do you like Lightyear?
what's
Sorry.
your problem, bro?
I'm sorry. I appreciate it. I didn't realize you liked it. What do you have at?
I mean, I don't love it. I have it at a 3.5, but no need for
okay.
Lightyear to be catching strays right now.
Hey, you had a 4 of mine on the bottom 5. So I don't hear any
That's
of it.
fair. That's fair.
I don't know, man. I think it was so tedious. I just didn't really do anything for me. It didn't really have much of an impact. And there was some cool sequences here and there, but I think Pixar have become like its worst enemy. Down to the expectations we have for the actual films, and I think this actually the storyline they created had a lot of potential, but I just think it was wasted because it was boring. It felt repetitive. It felt like something we've seen before. And again, this wasn't. Again, there was good moments. I don't want to say I hated Lightyear. It was like The Good Dinosaur for you guys, for example, just a perfect 2.5 out of 5. Just for me, just straight down the middle. Probably would never watch it again, but I didn't hate my watch with it at the same time.
That's fine, bro. That's fine.
That's fine.
All right, my third. We're on third, right? Third worst.
Third. Yeah.
My third worst, aptly ranked, is Cars 3. So in a proper position there. I don't want to spoil was in my top 2, I guess, but Cars 3 is like I was talking about earlier, is a movie that I don't like at all, but I didn't hate watching it. If it was on the TV and someone else was watching it, I wouldn't be like, turn that shit off. Like I'd watch it and be fine or whatever. I genuinely do enjoy Cars 1. Like that's not going to be on my bottom 5 list. I actually do like it. I think it's like 3.5 for me. I think I built a cool world. I think a lot of people hate on the Cars movies, obviously, and I think a lot of it is warranted. I think sometimes people go too far in terms of like, I've seen so many people that hate on Cars movies that talk about like how like stuff in the world and the universe doesn't make sense. And I'm like, Cars has so many things you can hate on that's like free pickings. Like there's no need to be talking about things that like aren't realistic because these are like every Pixar movie is stuff that's unrealistic. So I'm like, there's so much stuff you can hate on about Cars. There's no need to be talking about how realistic some things are in it because like, what are you doing?
About how annoying the fans are or some shit.
Yeah. But Cars 3 was it was just not great. But the trailer and the poster for it, like maybe the best Pixar's ever done. Like that trailer had me so hyped with them. Like it was just like,
I've seen the trailer.
It was just like him like crashing like epically like at the end of that race, and it was one of the most hyped trailers ever. And then just like I can't remember what the tagline of the poster is, but it's him like flipping his car, and can't remember, maybe it was like the road ends here or something. I was like, damn, that's a hard poster for Cars 3. Below mid movie, but good marketing.
George, give you 3.
Yeah, my 3 is a movie that was already mentioned, and that is Brave. Again, I think Tyler mentioned this. It just feels like the least Pixar-y movie, and I just think that works against it completely. Again, it's a 2.5 out of 5 for me, so it's nothing I'm like going to aggressively hate on. I just think it's a incredibly average film. It builds a world I don't necessarily care about. There's so much I think you could have done in this movie to like pull in more lore and mythology, but they kind of just went the very basic way. I hate calling animated films children films because a lot of them are not, but like Brave truly feels like it was made for children. So I just don't think I was the target audience here. But again, a 2.5 out of 5. It's not a film I'm going to sit here and absolutely shit on. That is my number 3.
3. Okay. My number 3 is same as Tyler, Cars 3. I don't hate I don't hate that Cars film anyway. It has elements. I think Cars 3, it has elements, but overall, I just think it's bland. There wasn't really much going for it. There wasn't really much ambition with that. At least with 2, you could say there was a level of ambition, even though 2, fuck it. Let's just, not get ahead of ourselves here, but 2 is not the one. But I just, Cars 3, there are elements of a nature okay, but again, it just feels so forgettable, and it's not something I would want to watch again. Like Tyler, though, I didn't hate it, or I don't hate it. I just think it's a perfectly average, if not slightly below average film that, whilst it has good elements with its characters, some of the comedy's pretty okay. The premise it's just a bore, to be honest. I don't get anything from Cars 3. Tyler, give your we're on 2 now, aren't we? Yeah.
Yep.
Give your 2.
Second worst Pixar movie of all time. One of you two is not going to like this answer. We've mentioned this movie before on this episode already, and based on reactions to it, I'm excited. But second worst Pixar movie of all time is Lightyear. I absolutely could not stand that movie. I thought I was so bored during it. Again, there's only one Pixar movie I truly hate. I think I gave Lightyear like a 2 out of 5. But Cars, or shit, almost just gave away my worst one. We knew where it was going. But Lightyear is just, I don't know, man. I watched it in the theater. I think that was one of the ones. Yeah, I think Riley went to it with me, and it was just so boring. And like last year was just huge swing and the miss for like outer space animated movies. Like both Lightyear and Strange World were just so boring and dumb. And I was more mad with Lightyear though, because like I think Seth said, there was so much potential there. Like Toy Story gave us 4 great movies, and Lightyear, the first 4 movies were kind of the Woody show. I mean, Lightyear and Woody kind of got equal carry, but I feel like it was more Woody and Andy's story, and I feel like Lightyear getting his own would have been epic. We always wanted to see these epic missions he goes on. The villain was very promising as well, but I don't know. It was just, I can't even remember anything what happened to even critique it. It was just a movie that came out literally like a year ago at this point that I just already have just forgotten completely. I just did not like it.
That was like when you said about not remembering The Good Dinosaurs, Pixar. I often just forget about Lightyear.
Yo, we get it. I got it.
George, give your number 2.
No, Ratatouille. Ratatouille's number 1 and 2 for me.
Okay.
No, I mean, if you don't mind, I'm just going to give my 2 and 1 back to back, because my 2 is Cars 3 and my 1 is Cars 2. I like it. I think Cars 3 is promising. Like Tyler said, it's really not like it's nothing I'm going to shit on. Like, it's not actively a horrific movie. Obviously, the expectation going into it was significantly higher than the results we got. We got that sick poster, the sweet trailer, and it just turned into this really bland piece of crap. Cars 2, on the other hand, I just viscerally hate. I think all the hate for that movie is absolutely warranted. And like Tyler said, I like Cars 1. It's a 3.5 out of 5 for me. I really think it's great. I think they build a pretty cool world with these cars. But this franchise, this trilogy for me just absolutely fell off. And unfortunately, 3 and 2 are my bottom 2 Pixar films.
I feel like we can just all give our like 2.
Yeah,
2
my
and
bad.
1.
I didn't mean to throw off the rotation.
Anyway. Yeah, my 2 is The Good Dinosaur, which I have nothing to say about it. It's so. The thing is, The Good Dinosaur is interesting because actually the animation was really good. and I like the idea of it, but it was so boring. And nothing happened. There's not one scene in that I cared about. I just it found it so tedious to sit through, which isn't normal for a film of a relatively short length, being a Pixar film, which mostly catered for children. And you'd think it would have an ounce of entertainment or an ounce of visually inspiring work that would draw my eye, but it just doesn't. The Good Dinosaurs, I don't hate it. And again, it's interesting because I actually think that Good Dinosaurs is still like a 2 for me. So I only have 2 films below a 2.5 for Pixar, which is pretty impressive. But my my number one is Cars 2. I did a ranking of every Pixar film. People said the Cars 2 should be first. Like, come on, let's just chill. All right. Cars 2 is so dumb. It's stupid, and not even like a good stupid. It's nonsensical. None of it makes sense. I admire the ambition, I guess, but it just comes across as like it literally comes across like a 2-year-old wrote it. None of it makes sense. It's so convoluted. The animation doesn't work. They tried to do far too much in one story. Like, they needed to know their place. You know what I mean? From Cars 1.
Yep.
Cars 1 I actually don't hate. I actually have Cars 1 like a 3-star. I think it's perfectly fine. I don't love it like some people, but that's probably primarily because I didn't grow up with it. But Cars 2 on the other hand, man,
Tough.
It lacked the heart that at least Cars. Even though I don't love Cars 1, it had heart. There was passion behind it, and it had a structured narrative and way it wanted to go, and a theme it wanted to provide kids, especially. Cars 2 didn't have any of that. It was just dumb. So dumb. But Tyler, you go for your number 2. Is he still here?
I am still here. My camera just like went out. I think it's coming back, but I'm here to talk. So my camera's coming back on. But my number 1 worst is Cars 2. So spoiler alert.
Sure.
We're all the same there. It's just like you said, it's so dumb. I do agree with what you said though, Seth. Like, at least they had like ambition for it. Like, they tried something completely new. They didn't just, whereas the Cars 2 is kind of just like rinse and repeat ish of Cars 1.
Yeah.
But yeah, like Tow Mater as a character for like Cars 1, I feel like was used a pretty perfect amount. Just give him like mostly just like offhand comments and maybe like one scene where he really stands out and shines. But Cars 2 really leaned into him so much when he's just not a character you can lean on that much, making these cars become like super spy villains. And then Cars 3 just kind of completely abandoning that, which I'm happy they did because Cars 3 is tolerable and Cars 2 wasn't. But it just speaks volumes of how weird and out of place Cars 2 was. That's the only movie from Pixar that I like genuinely hate. I genuinely just don't want to watch ever again. And like I said at the beginning, with how Pixar has like 15 movies, that if anyone said that was like their number 1 or top 3, I wouldn't bat an eye. Cars 1, genuinely, even though it's a 3.5 out of 5 for me, if someone says that's their favorite Pixar of all time, I'm more than okay with that. I can totally see why people really latch on to Cars 1 and love it. But the Cars 2 and Cars 3 love just feels so forced, and I just don't get it. And Cars 2 is just an abomination.
Yeah, you tell them, Tyler.
Yeah.
We're going to have people unsubscribing us for this video.
Yeah, well, for strictly our Cars takes.
Yeah, well, they'll unsubscribe to us and go walk over to Weenie Hut Juniors and get a milkshake. I don't know.
If you want to run through, I'll run through my bottom 5. So my bottom 5 was Brave at 5th, Lightyear at 4th, Cars 3 at 3rd, The Good Dinosaur at 2nd, and Cars 2 at the worst spot. Tyler, give you 5.
My bottom 5. So 5th worst is Turning Red. Then we got The Good Dinosaur. Then Cars 3. Then Lightyear. And the worst Pixar movie ever made, undebatably, is Cars 2.
I had Monsters University at 5, The Good Dinosaur at 4, Brave at 3, Cars 3 at 2, and then undoubtedly, like Tyler said, the worst Pixar movie, Cars 2.
Interesting. I didn't all know we'd have 2 Cars films in there. That's
yeah, fuck Cars.
Tyler, your angle was like really funny then. Like, you was just at the top of your head poking out.
Yeah, so like, my webcam's like AI powered, so it's like it can have a mode where it tracks my head wherever, but I just changed it to where it's like fixed on me now. But now we're good with the mic or the webcam.
Okay. So next, let us know your top Pixar films. But next up, we have a game, and usually the host would choose the game, but George wanted to do something different this week, and me and Tyler actually don't know what it is. All George has told us there's a a trivia of some sort.
Oh, it's just a trivia game. It's not like a crazy game we haven't played yet.
Is it a memory game? I'm not in the mood for a memory game.
No. It's literally.
It's not like your 3.5 star movies. You got to rattle them all off. Okay.
Well, okay, you'll see. So it's a trivia game. We are broken into 4 categories. I will not tell you the categories until we get to them. 5 questions each, 20 questions. We'll just kind of go. If you have the answer, just say it, I guess.
Oh, it's not like a note it down and check at the end. It's like a say it.
No, we'll just do a say it and just see. Because like I think a lot of these will require not a lot of thinking, but it's not going to be answers that are just going to come at you like where you guys are screaming at the same time.
I'm bad on the spot.
Cool. Yeah.
We saw this in Tyler's videos. This isn't.
You will have time. You will have time to think. So let's get right into it. Category 1 is the Oscars. 5 questions
against Tyler. Poor people against Tyler.
It's okay. It's okay. All right. Question number 1. The great Leonardo DiCaprio has been nominated for 6 Oscars. What was his first nomination for?
What's Eating Goblet Grape?
Yes, sir.
Wow.
Look at Mr. Complainer, Seth.
Mr. Complainer just pulled that one out of his ass.
No, I know he was really good in that film.
You love that movie because in my video where I was like, name all the Leonardo DiCaprio movies in 60 seconds, I think it was like the first one you pulled. Like that movie's always top of mind for you.
It's just a funny name.
Yeah.
I do actually think it's one of Leo's best performances, though, so that might be why
it is. I agree.
Yeah, agreed.
Question number 2. This is actually, interestingly enough, something I only recently found out. To be eligible for an Academy Award, a film must be screened in a theater in which city?
New York.
Los Angeles.
Nope. Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Los Angeles.
It was one of the two. Yeah, I was going to guess one of the two. Seth picked one. Yeah.
All right. Question number 3. In 1973, which actor declined his Oscar for Best Actor?
Marlon Brando.
Yes, sir. Damn, all this complaining, bro. What's up here?
Yeah, but you're putting me on films that I love. I love.
I mean, I never said these were going to be impossible questions. We might get a little trickier as we go down the categories.
I thought you'd be more in detail, like recent, because then I'd struggle.
Right, George is like, none of these are questions you'll be rattling off right away. All 3 so far, we've just like ripped off as fast as we can.
Yeah, exactly. Question number 4. This one might be a bit tougher. What was the first science fiction film to win Best Picture?
Oh.
Ooh.
I will give you a hint. It is more recent than you would imagine.
I was thinking it might be way earlier than I would have imagined.
Wow, I don't know. Gravity didn't win, did it?
No, Gravity did not.
That's a good choice.
That is a good guess, though.
Wow. Is it directly sci-fi? Can we get is it
I will say it's sci-fi drama, maybe.
Arrival didn't win Best Picture.
Is it Shape of Water? Is that sci-fi?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
I always think of that as fantasy in my mind, which I know that's a hot debate for sci-fi in general. Is it sci-fi or is it fantasy? Shape of Water to me is like fantasy, but I can see why it works.
I haven't seen it though. But the only reason I guessed is because I know it won Best Picture. I know it's got like alien elements or some shit like that.
It is. I will agree with Tyler. I was a little shocked to see that 1, this was the first science fiction film to win Best Picture. 2, shocked to see that science fiction is the main genre of this film. That's why I thought that one would stump you guys a little bit more.
Yeah, that's very surprising.
And final question of the Oscars category. What was the last film to sweep the Big 5 awards? Picture, director, actor, actress, and screenplay.
Everything Everywhere at Once?
No, sir. That one did not win Best Actor.
Oh, yeah, shit. Best Actor, of course.
Same hint as the last question, except the other way around. It is probably not. This is not as recent as you would expect.
So, sorry, actor, actress, director, screenplay, and film, and picture.
Yep, and picture. Yep.
Wow, I didn't.
I will also give you a hint. This was the first movie to win Best Picture in this particular genre.
Silence of the Lambs.
Yes, sir.
Oh my God.
4 points for Seth. Damn.
I'm
4
so
points for Seth.
Crazy.
All
Do you know
right.
what, George? You get it. I knew I was thinking horror straight away, and that's
that one shocked me, honestly. I
didn't
did
know
not,
that one.
That was 1991. A film hasn't done that since 1991.
I didn't know that one like more than 3. To be honest,
Yeah.
I just knew, like, some of them.
Got all of them. Category number 2. See how much you guys are paying attention to my letterboxed.
Oh.
George Carmi's greatest movies of all time ranking.
Okay.
We'll go with an easy question. Number 1. Which filmmaker has the most films on my greatest of all time ranking?
Denis
Probably
Villeneuve.
Nolan or some shit.
Nope. No and no.
Denis Villeneuve.
Nope.
Oh, Charles said that. Kubrick.
Martin Scorsese.
Who'd you just say, Seth?
Kubrick.
No, not Kubrick. Not
Scorsese.
Scorsese.
What?
What?
Come on,
It's
you're
not like
forgetting.
Fin- it's
You're
not like
forgetting a
Fincher.
big filmmaker.
It's not like Fincher or some shit, is it?
No. Y'all dead ass right now?
Yeah, my
You're
mind's going
forgetting
to-
a massive filmmaker.
I'm forgetting a lot of
Tarantino?
massive film-
No.
No.
Paul Thomas
Oh,
Anderson.
Spielberg.
Oh,
Spielberg.
yeah.
Thank
Obviously,
you.
Obviously.
Jesus. That's
Yeah, I mean-
concerning.
I should have
Y'all
got that.
Y'all don't pay attention to me, I guess.
No, I don't know why I didn't
Question-
get that.
Question number 2. We'll go a little more specific here. What does George Carmi, myself, consider the 3rd greatest film ever made?
Blade
Arrival.
Runner.
No and no.
Oh, I'm stuck.
The
Take
Return
your
of the
time, take your
King.
time. Yes, sir. The
Oh,
Return of the
really?
King.
Okay. I know you're 1 and 2. I didn't know you're 3. Okay, interesting.
Yes, sir. 1 and 2. 2001, The Godfather.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't think it was The Godfather. I didn't know you 1 and 2 somehow.
It is.
Crazy.
Question number 3. Now, please keep in mind, on my greatest of all time ranking, I did not include Bo Burnham's Inside. So take that into account with this question. How many films from the current decade appear on that list?
3,
No.
4.
2,
No and no.
5.
Nope.
6.
1.
Christ. I mean, I got to cap this at something. You're just going to start rattling off numbers.
But that's the point with 7,
No.
9.
8.
8.
8.
No one should get a point for that one. No one should get a point.
Yeah,
for that one.
I'm not giving anyone a
No,
point for that one.
No,
That
because
was-
Tyler got it, so you have to kind of give it. because
that
he got
was
it eventually.
bullshit. No one's getting a point for that one. Question number 4. What is the highest ranked film not in the English language?
Parasite.
No.
Oh, wait, no, on your list. Sorry, on your list.
On my list.
Stalker.
On my
Stalker.
Stalker. Correct.
Yeah.
Okay, there you go.
Correct. Andrei Tarkovsky's Stalker is what I consider to be the best film not in the English language. And lastly, how many comic book or superhero movies appear on that list?
2.
Infinity War's not on there. Guardians isn't on there.
I'm giving you
2.
guys 2 guesses each.
2,
No.
3.
No. That's it for you.
Okay.
Tyler.
It's gonna be 4.
So okay, if I got all the time in the world. So the Dark Knight, obviously,
Yeah.
Into the Spider-Verse, obviously.
Correct.
I don't know if you're counting Old Boy. Are you? You have to give that. Are you counting
I
Old
am
Boy?
not. I am
Okay.
not counting.
Okay,
Old Boy.
good to know. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. Fun fact for all you listeners out there: had the shortest ever stint in George Carmi's greatest films of all time list. It was on there for maybe 50. It was a 5-star film for you for maybe like 15 minutes. Yeah, I'm gonna say 4.
No, the correct answer is 6.
What?
Oh, well, let me guess. Okay, so the Batman. Tyler forgot the Batman.
The Batman.
The Batman. So Dark Knight. The Batman.
Dark Knight.
In- Into the Spider-Verse.
Correct.
Endgame still.
Nope.
Not Infinity War either, right? You dropped that?
Nope.
Across the Spider-Verse.
Across the Spider.
Oh, that was a 5 for you?
M Night's Unbreakable.
Stop.
Superman. No, you don't. I don't think you like
Nope.
Superman much.
we just talked about one of them in our Pixar rankings.
Incredibles.
Oh, Incredibles. I thought you had that
Incredibles.
4.5. Okay, interesting. And
And we're missing one more.
Zack
One more.
Snyder's Justice League or some shit.
Nope. We actually talked about this character just earlier in this episode. Talking about a subway.
Oh, Joker.
Joker. Is that a superhero film though?
It's a
Yeah,
comic
yeah,
book
I'd
movie.
call it that.
I said comic book. I said comic book.
I'll let go. Okay, I'll let go.
All right. After 2 rounds, we got Seth with 6, Tyler with 2. Tyler, you got some ground to make up.
Yeah, I do.
Round 3, we are keeping up with our animated movies theme of the episode. Question number 1. What land are the tiny dinosaurs trying to get to in the land before time?
China.
No.
I don't know. Man.
This is probably the toughest question on this one. I
I
will
have
say.
no idea.
Yeah, this is a tough one. The answer is the Great Valley,
Not China.
Wait, what's that from? Why don't I remember what this is?
the land before time.
What?
I know that.
Rewatch
I know
that
what movie that is, but I would not remember
What
that.
the hell
Yet.
is The Land Before Time?
That's fair. Yeah, it's an older movie. Question number 2. Evil Manta is a character in which animated film?
Kung Fu Panda.
Shark
Oh,
Tale.
come on. Oh my god.
Ants. Bug's Life.
No.
No, you're eliminated. I'll get one more. I'll get one more.
Yeah, I'm giving you one more guess to pull this out of your ass.
Evil Manta, something like I don't know. Finding Nemo.
No, close. The Little Mermaid.
Oh, that's what I was
Oh,
thinking,
shit.
but I feel like I
Yeah.
watched the live action
gonna give
remake
you
and
a
there was
hint,
no
like,
Evil Manta in the live
Evil
action.
Manta? I don't remember that shit.
Question number 3. This might be a little easier. Which film won the first ever Oscar for Best Animated Film?
Toy Story.
No.
No, The Lion King.
no,
Lion King. It's The Lion King.
No.
What?
It's not. It's not. Is it Cinderella?
Snow White.
No, it's.
I will give you a hint. It's this century.
Oh. Wait, what? Say again.
Which film won the first ever Oscar for Best Animated Film? It never used to be a category.
Oh, I thought you
until
said Best Picture for some reason.
No.
I thought you
Oh.
Animated film.
We just got to get
Probably
lucky and think of the year at this point because it's not necessarily.
I don't know when that got released.
Ratatouille.
No. Damn, I thought this one would be a little
Can,
easier.
can I ask? Is it 2000s like or 2010s?
2000s.
I
I will give you an even bigger hint. It is the year 2000.
2000. What?
2001 Oscars for the year 2000.
Not Spirited Away.
No.
It's maybe one you wouldn't expect to have won an Oscar.
Have I seen it?
Yes, of course.
Of course.
You've seen all 5, including 2 spin-offs.
Toy Story 2?
Toy Story 2.
No.
What the fuck?
The answer is Shrek.
Oh my
Oh,
god.
good for Shrek. Good for Shrek.
didn't know Shrek was
Yeah,
2000.
that honestly, good for Shrek. Like that's one I did not
Yeah,
expect.
I didn't think Shrek was 2000. I thought it was a bit later than that.
All right, question number 4. I
not
hope
doing well.
this is a little bit of an easier one. Who was the voice of Scar in The Lion King?
James Earl Jones.
No,
Wait, what? Oh, he's Mufasa, wasn't he?
I don't know.
I think James Earl Jones was Mufasa. I'm pretty sure it was. Okay, I don't know.
Damn, I thought this would be an easier one too.
John Lithgow.
No, I will give you a hint.
No idea what I just get.
He
Go on.
is in the DC extended universe.
Oh, Ben Affleck.
No, what?
Jesse
I will give you
Eisenberg.
another hint. He acts closely alongside Ben Affleck in the DC extended universe.
Michael Keaton.
No, what?
Ezra Miller.
Oh my god.
Wait, what is it? Who? It's not who plays Alfred. It's not
Who
Gal
plays
Gadot.
It is who plays Alfred.
Oh, I have
Jeremy
no
Irons.
clue who that dude is.
Who the hell is that?
Are you serious? He was in Watchmen.
The
as well?
Woat
Come on.
Alfred, the worst of all time Alfred.
Oh my god.
He's not a bad Alfred,
right.
but I rank him
I really
last.
thought this would be an easier
Can
category.
I just say, James Earl Jones did voice Mufasa and Darth Vader.
For some reason, I kept thinking the dude from No Country for Old Men, but I couldn't remember his name. But obviously, it was wrong. Who
All
also
right,
played in
final
Little Mermaid.
question of the category. I pray this is an easier one.
It's crazy.
What is the highest grossing animated film of all time?
Frozen 2.
Yes.
Bang.
Which is stupid
God.
because The Lion King isn't like it's computer generated. film.
Yeah,
That would
Yeah,
be-
yeah, that's
yeah.
true.
That, is that
That's true.
top 10? I think.
I don't
I think-
know.
Well, The
I
Lion King
will
is the
say-
highest, but it's not.
Yeah,
animated.
and I will say in a month or two, Super Mario Bros. Will be number 1.
That's crazy.
And then final category, miscellaneous.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Question number 1. And I'm giving you guys one guess each.
Oh.
So think about this. Our beautiful co-host, Cameron Walsh, has how many movies rated a 100 out of 100?
7.
Nope. And that is your only
Shit.
guess.
Why didn't I think? I could have counted.
Yeah,
them.
you went into that way too fast.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
Tyler, take your time.
I should have waited. That's crazy. Oh, that's annoying.
8.
Oh, no, 6.
6. Yeah, 6.
It is The
It's,
Lion King, The
go on, sorry.
Godfather, Seven Samurai, Empire Strikes Back, The Dark Knight, and Into the Spider-Verse.
Yeah. Ah, shit.
Question number 2. What is the highest rated James Bond film on Rotten Tomatoes?
Oh, you letterbox me. Skyfall.
Oh, right.
Nope.
And are you going critics or audience?
I'm going critics.
So highest
will
rated
give you guys-
James Bond. I'm gonna guess it's not a Daniel Craig one, and I'm gonna guess GoldenEye.
Oh, I was going to say that one.
Not GoldenEye.
Goldfinger.
It is Goldfinger.
Okay, GoldenEye's the video game. I don't think there's a movie GoldenEye. Goldfinger was what was in my mind, but yeah, GoldenEye. I think GoldenEye's only a video game.
I'll give you guys both a point for that. Whatever.
No, none of us got a
No.
point. At this point, I don't even think I can catch up to Seth, so it's game over.
Question number 3. What is my dog's name?
Izzy.
Oh, shit.
No.
Jeff. Is it a boy or a girl?
Snowball.
It is a boy. That
a
doesn't
boy.
matter.
I thought it was a
That doesn't
girl.
matter at all.
Oh, it's Novak.
The name is non-gendered.
Andy Murray.
Joker, but with a D.
My dog's name is Whiskey.
I did know that. I did know that. Actually.
Clearly didn't.
That's good.
Question number 4. In Abraham Lincoln's famous Gettysburg Address, he says 407 years ago. How many years is that?
What?
I said miscellaneous, bro.
Well, the next one better be on some like English shit then. I'm expecting to be anyway.
55.
What?
407 years ago.
47.
Oh no,
It's not 55.
it's not 55.
What is it?
Wait, no.
It is 87.
Oh shit, I would not have got that.
George,
I
your
wouldn't have-
questions are really hard.
Well,
You're
whatever. I don't care.
really, really
Where did
hard.
that
Final
one come
question.
from? That was so random.
Listen, I said miscellaneous. Final question. You guys are gonna love this one. What year did Britney Spears' hit song "Oops, I Did It Again" release?
Oh, that has 2002 written all over it.
I was going to say 2001.
No.
2004.
1998. 99. 2006.
God damn.
97.
Why couldn't you just go one more?
2005.
2000.
Oh, shit. What the fuck?
That's a good question. That's a good question right there. You should have
Wait,
known that.
so, out of all the questions, what were the total scores? How many questions were there? 25?
There was 20 questions. Seth answered 8 correctly. Tyler answered 2 correctly, and then we had 10 unanswered questions.
Jesus Christ.
The Oscar category started so strong with all 5 being answered between me and Seth,
Yeah, I was
and
gonna
then it went
say
downhill.
then you guys went downhill. Thanks for paying attention to my greatest of all time ranking list.
That's fine. That's fine.
That wraps
yeah.
up.
That was our trick. Let us know if you want more of that because they are quite enjoyable. Just we'll get someone else to host who doesn't ask questions about Abraham Lincoln shit.
Hey, I said miscellaneous.
Yeah, you did. To be fair, you did. Oh shit, guys! Someone's got to send me the link of my Patreon app isn't loading. So send me the link of the patrons.
I'll be able to
rundown.
do it real quick if you want to segue and just fill 15 seconds of airtime.
Okay.
Just-
But as always,
I have watched recently.
oh shit, yeah.
We didn't do that.
What,
watched
George, what have
Pirates
you been
of the-
watching recently?
Yeah, thanks
Yeah.
for asking. Thanks for not forgetting. Again, a lot of rewatches. I watched actually the first one is not a rewatch. I watched Richard Kelly's The Box, which absolutely fucking sucked.
That's one of those that
Contact.
certain segment of Twitter loves. Like,
Yeah, for sure.
Is it
Yeah, that's-
Richard Kelly's the one, the Donnie Darko, like 3
Yeah,
films?
Donnie Darko.
I haven't seen either. So.
The Box, miserable watch. I watched Robert Zemeckis' Contact, which I really enjoyed. I also rewatched The Wolf of Wall Street, A Monster Calls, The Perks of Being a Wallflower, Black Swan, and Pirates of the Caribbean. And
Which
then
Pirates of the Caribbean? First.
Curse the Black Pearl.
Great film. Great film.
And then I just watched Black Dynamite today, which you guys, which we will talk about on our Real Quick later this week.
Dynamite.
Cool. Nice. Yeah, that was good. Tyler, what have you been watching this week?
Yeah, so rewatched La La Land twice because once on my flight to Boston, once on my flight back. That's my go-to flight movie because I want to listen to the soundtrack while I'm flying. So it's like I'll throw on the movie, and if I'm fading in and out of sleep, whatever. But on the way here today, I didn't sleep at all. But on the way to Boston, was in and out of sleep a bit while I was watching it. But it's mainly just because I like, the soundtrack in the back. Rewatched Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 also on my flight. Third time watching it. Still love it, man. Like that's like I was telling George before we started recording that it's my favorite MCU movie, and at this point, it's like starting to grow a gap like between everything else. Like I would genuinely rewatch that movie all the time. Whereas any other MCU, I just have no interest in really rewatching. For someone who loves musicals so much, I'm surprised it took me this long to finally watch The Greatest Showman. I don't think it's a great movie at all, but I think the soundtrack absolutely bangs. Like the actual story itself as a biopic of P.T. Barnum, I think is really weak, but all the actors clearly are having so much fun, and I really enjoy the soundtrack. 300 Rise of an Empire, what a shit sequel to Zack Snyder's 300. Eva Green was such a badass, and I really enjoyed like how like savage she was, but that movie just stinks. Watch a couple Sandler's, Big Daddy, really good. I mean, I already seen it. Anger Management, I'd never seen it. I didn't like it actually. I just didn't vibe with that movie. I didn't care for it much.
What, Anchorman?
Anger Management.
Oh yeah, it's not great. I didn't like it.
Yeah, which I think a lot of people kind of like-ish, but rewatched Grown Ups and I actually upped my rating to 2.5. It was like a 1 at one point, but I actually had fun with Grown Ups. Grown Ups 2 sucks, but Grown Ups is fine. Groundhog Day was pretty good. Didn't love it. 3.5 stars. And then lastly, Bottle Rocket, Wes Anderson's debut. Finally watched it. I liked it. 3 stars. I can see why people really love it. It's quirky. It's fun. Owen Wilson, or I was gonna say Owen Wilson, but I guess the Wilson trip trio, because there's all 3 of them in it. Clearly just having a great time. But yeah, that's it. Oh, London Has Fallen sucked. I guess that's a sequel to like Olympus Has Fallen. Maybe I hate London Has Fallen.
To Olympus.
But like the thing is, when people see I watch shitty movies on Letterboxd, just know I'm doing stuff. Like London Has Fallen, I was not sitting on my couch watching with my full attention, and if that offends you, I'm sorry. But London Has Fallen absolutely was on this monitor while I was doing shit on my main monitor. And again, if that makes you sad, then you can unfollow me on Letterboxd. But 300 Rise of an Empire didn't get my attention. There's one scene with Eva Green that got my attention, but then right out the window once again. But yeah, that's what I've been watching.
Yeah, I watched a few things. I watched The Shining yesterday, which is pretty good.
I think I'm going to rewatch that like this weekend. I need to. It's been long overdue. I need to watch it again.
I watched Eraser. I watched Dawn of the Dead. I finally watched Infinity Pool. Kind of like,
Mia Goth.
Oh man, she's so fucking. Anyway, Infinity Pool. I didn't like it as much as I thought I would, to be honest. George, what did you give it? I can't remember now.
Gave it a 2.5. I didn't necessarily.
Okay. I give it a 3. I didn't think it did very well. I think I really enjoyed the first half an hour. Then I was like, this is just not great. I watched Climax. George, have you seen that? The Gaspar Noé one?
I have.
I thought it was okay. I also watched Titan, which George, I really, really want you to watch because that is amazing. Like even Anna liked it. There's a lot of gore, so she had to turn away. But even she, it's so good. I think you'd really like that.
Okay.
I watched Miami Vice, the Michael Mann film with Colin Farrell when he has like the long hair and Jamie Foxx. I really like that. As Talk to Me, as I spoke about before, Inside, A Monster Calls, which obviously George watched and I watched, a couple Bergmans, and then Black Dynamite, which is our Patreon review. But yeah, so anyway, thank you for listening. This week we'll have some videos obviously next week coming out. With the Patreon review will be Black Dynamite. So watch that in preparation. If you do, watch things on Monday. Watch that in preparation for the Real Quick episode. And we'll be also doing a Patreon suggested DreamWorks film review. We're heavily animation themed, it seems, at the minute. So we'll be doing that as well. But as usual, thank you very much for recent support. Thank you for checking out the Spotify, rating us on there. Subscribe to YouTube, as I mentioned earlier. 4K is a massive milestone. We really appreciate that. And Tyler, if you want to shout out the patrons, that would be very much appreciated as well.
Yes, sir. We got our special thanks to our executive producers this week: Hamish Edwards, Isaiah Villa, Zach Graves, Brody Young, Trey Artsy, Cody Whitney, Rocco 1.0, Dakota Buckner, Matthew Bradley, Sean Morales, Alexander Biscardi, Dylan Chip, Adam H16, Josh Hines, Jimmy O'Connor, Stefan Johnson, Dean Cotamanidis, Will Kim, Luke Deerhog, Reese David, Marcellus, Mac Wells, Remy Walker, Oscar Trinick, Ben Hansey, Ferdinando Ford, Jordan Gagg, Seven Mod Jeffy, and Ben Leggy. Shout out to all of you. And that does it for us here today. See you in the next one.